Hello, my name is Donny McNichol of Team Animation, and I want to talk to you about the leadership support for project leaders. In particular, I'm going to look at 5 questions that all project leaders should ask themselves regarding have they got the support necessary to deliver success in a project. We all know that it's critical that projects are well led. We all know the statistics, accurate or not, 70 to 80% of projects don't succeed by whatever measure we then use. But there are wider issues caused by poor project leadership. Consider the experience of working in a poorly led project. It's not just a negative impact on individuals, in teams. It can have a cumulative impact on organisations and impact even the culture of the organisation, its competitive position in the marketplace. All sorts of implications of just some poorly led projects. And that may be down to the project leader, but it may well be down to the support that they have either in developing themselves or the sponsorship and so on. That's what we want to talk about today. It should be incumbent on the person taking on the role or appointing someone in that position to be clear what is expected of them, what they want to ensure, that have they got the capability, are we going to ensure that they have got all the support they necessary. This is not always the case. Who in the current climate is going to say no to a potentially lucrative project or a career advancing project, even if they know they're not necessarily going to get the support necessary? Some organisations are leading the way in supporting the project leaders to succeed. Some are exemplary in that. Through discussion with project leaders from multiple industries, I've identified 5 questions that I think are quite important for project leaders to ask themselves. So these are the 5 questions here. Do the people that matter agree on what my role is? Do I have the executive support necessary to carry out my role? Is leading the project down to me alone? Do I have the necessary capability and development support? And is the organisation making it easy for me to do my job? This was actually originally published in Project Magazine a little while ago. So I'm just going to go through each one of those individually. So the first one, do the people that matter agree on what my role is? Often project managers, project leaders will not sit down apart from just getting a broad list of bullets about what the responsibilities are and sitting down saying what exactly do you expect of me? And often for that to be worked out, they've got to speak to those other people about what's expected of them. For example, with the sponsor, not just again having a generic bullet list, but actually saying what exactly are you going to do? What am I going to do? What are you accountable for? What am I responsible for? So a test for this for the project leader is to ask key stakeholders, primarily your sponsor, to describe your role. Hopefully again more than just a generic list of responsibilities, and what they would see as success when congratulating you at the end of the project for a job well done. What is it that they're expecting you to achieve? Next question is, do I have the executive support necessary to carry out my role? Well, you may have got the role sorted out, but do you have the necessary support at senior levels to make resources available, to make decisions quickly, to get the investment that's necessary? So a little test is identify a safe scenario on your project early on in the project, which can be used to test the response from the sponsor and those whose support is critical to you, maybe others, key stakeholders, and in turn the project success. So test out early, do you get the support necessary? Don't wait to a crisis point to find out if people can make decisions. Test it early if you can, just to check that. The third question is leading the project down to me alone? Often the project leaders take it on their shoulders, and it can be a very exhausting role for many people to take. So you should, is it fundamentally down to me? Is there a single leader in the project? That, as we'll all know, is quite an old-fashioned view that there only is a leader. There are leadership, there is leaders and leadership all the way through organisations and at different roles in a project. You typically need a figurehead of being the project leader, but everyone needs to do their part. So a test is attend a team meeting. Of course, you may be running it. Do not contribute when it comes to key decisions or identification of next steps. Identifying who steps up in the meeting. After the meeting, observe if they follow up through their commitments competently. And then you've potentially identified another leader on the project, somebody maybe below you or a peer who's supporting you. So you've got to look around and say, is everything, all those leadership aspects purely down to me, or is this a joint effort? And how can, in fact, I promote that? That's a very good model for many people. It's about promoting and people to develop their own leadership skills. Fourth question is, do I have the necessary capability and development support? You may well not have those things. So you need to think about, do I have the skills, experience, the behavioural competencies, etc. So you've got to ask yourself those questions and not just say, yes, I am fine. So a little test is, identify the areas you believe you need to develop, possibly through discussions with your sponsor. Then consider your own personal preferences and the options available to you to develop yourself. Think of a kind of blended approach that suits your situation. You may not be able to go on a major development program because of the intensity of the work you have on the project. So it may be coaching, for example, that you require, where somebody is coming to you to support you. And a supportive direct manager, mentor and development professional are invaluable at points like this if you need them. As we all know, things like coaching can be extremely beneficial. The last question is the organisation making it easy for me to do my job? So that's culturally. Is there a lot of friction in the organisation? I mean, we've written about organisational energy, and in fact going to be contributing to a handbook shortly on portfolio management, and that's one of the topics, is about energy, is about the friction. Is it being made easy for you to deliver your project, or are there all sorts of points across and around your project that just causes friction, slows things down, creates heat and energy and conflict? So test of that. Just think of a typical week and what you spend your time doing. How would your effectiveness and performance in the project be impacted if there was no bureaucracy, no political interference, resources were available when needed? You kind of get an idea. Ask yourself those, imagine the perfect scenario. Identify what those factors are that you can influence and ensure your sponsor is aware of the broader issues that are causing friction for you, and think about ways that either you can influence them or your sponsor can. Chances are, if you're feeling them, other project leaders will be feeling them as well. And that's where, of course, central capability, responsibility and organisation, central development come in to try and get rid of some of those friction points across the organisation. So, just to close, the role of the project leader is challenging. But from my personal experience, having done it in construction and then moving into technology, the management consultancy world, and delivering a whole series of different types of projects, and now working with project leaders in many organisations around the globe, it's hugely satisfying and rewarding. And for some people, it really is kind of life's calling, is to lead projects and lead change. A few questions will not change the world, but they will help and prompt you to reflect and possibly take some action to improve your own situation and that of your team. For those responsible for the success of project leaders, so you may be a head of capability, an L&D person, use these questions as well as prompts to improve the support mechanism you and the organisation provide. Are you making sure that the project leaders can positively answer each of those questions? And success is very much a joint endeavour, as we know, with teams. Good luck with your project. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed it and got some value. You would be able to get a full copy of the article from my SlideShare feed if that's of interest. Thank you.